it says. It would be common.
All right.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, has everybody had a chance to review the minutes from last month? Any questions, corrections, that were already posted?
Yes, I did make one correction for shed break concept.
Not, I would take a motion for the secretary to approve and file that.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Greg, second by Deb. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Public comment, we're gonna start with Earl Landis. Yep.
Introduce yourself.
So, each one of course, I got hearing problems and I'm missing many words.
Okay, and this is Earl, and you are?
I'm Stella Raffensperger. I
Yep.
work for the Borough of Landis. Yes, I do. Because somebody else was
Okay.
asking. We were contacted by Mr. Ziegler explaining to us that there was a lack of an EDU for this property. So we worked on what he suggested we do. We have a drawing here that shows that the green plot goes back to Cherry Street. So Mr. Landis approached the company in the back and worked out a lease agreement. And they are at 4147 Cherry Street and was able to gain a signed lease for 2 parking spots for the cottage in the rear that currently does not have parking spots. The 2 unit in the front, 35-37, has theirs, but this one lacks that. So we were told we had to get that. We have our drawing, if you would like to see that, but that plots out to the back.
The other question was, did he explain to you that you'll need to go for a variance as well for the zoning hearing board?
Yes.
That's just one of those steps.
Yes, we're here to have you tell us what we need to do as our next step.
Yeah, I mean, that would be the next step. And you'll need to bring that along to the zoning hearing board meeting as far as your required off-parking, off premises parking and how you're going to handle that. But then you also have to go because you're only allowed 1 principal use per lot. Single family and a 2-family are 2 separate principal uses. So
Okay,
the current principal use is the 2-family. So if he wants to have the other one used as a single family, that would require a variance.
okay, I'm understanding what he's saying, because that one's detached in the back. Yeah, the variance. Okay, and how much does the variance application cost?
Oh gosh, I'll have to email you. I think it's 600, but don't hold me to that number.
Okay, all
It's
right.
right around there.
So we go get, and
Yeah.
we can
If you
download.
contact me, I will email you the application and everything.
I will, okay, then we can do that, and we pay the 600 and come to the.
And then I'll
meeting.
schedule a planning commission meeting and then a zoning hearing board
Mhm.
meeting, and you'll be notified of those dates, and you will need to be present at both of those.
Okay, I have the lease, the deed, and the drawing. What other information would I need at the time?
I have to look through the ordinance, see if there's anything else, but when we talk, I can look through the ordinance for all that.
Okay,
Yeah.
all righty. Any,
Yeah. So who makes a final decision?
That will be none of us up here. That will be the zoning hearing
It'll
board.
be the zoning hearing.
As far as the use of the property, it's this body, council, that decides on assignment of an additional sewer EDU.
mhm.
So you'll need approvals from two different bodies.
Okay, so first we get that one, then come back. To get the other approval.
You could be either or. Yeah, I don't know how council feels. I mean,
I think typically if we gave the permission, if we said, okay, I think we put some sort of time limit on it, so it's not held up for 5 years. You know what I'm saying? Like if somebody else comes, this falls through, and I think that's the only thing I can think of in the past, that we did like a 9-month thing or 6
Didn't
month.
we, the last one with the EDU, didn't you guys approve that you temporarily held one based on the decision
Yeah, it was
from the zoning hearing board and gave them, what, 2 months, 3 months to get that permission?
3 months should be adequate.
Yeah, but I mean,
Because they have to hear it within.
We already did this.
this is a different property though. This would be another,
And how many do we have held up?
but I mean, I think you,
That they're,
That fell through.
no, that was approved, so those two are
So
gone,
those
so
two-
we're down to just 2 EDUs.
Questions or comments from council on this?
I have a question. Is it gonna be parking for the cars off the street?
Yes.
Okay, but I'm asking the ones now where the property is, are they off the street too? Are they on the
They
street?
have that garage.
Yeah, they have the room, but that don't mean they don't park out on the street
But
sometimes.
they do have room back on Cherry Street, okay? Okay, that's what I wanted to know.
This one came first, that's why.
What does an EDU cost once you submit the variance?
Pardon?
What does an EDU cost once you're done with your variance?
You don't pay the township, the borough anything,
Okay.
you would get that through Springfield Township Sewer Authority.
Okay,
And I imagine there's probably just a connection fee because we didn't incorporate tapping fees. So you'd have to talk to the sewer authority and what those fees are.
okay,
We just, Borough Council approves the assignment and then they actually have to act on it and approve it as well. And then they handle all the administrative issuance of the.
I'm
EDUs and
familiar with
everything,
their
so, yeah.
expenses and stuff, okay. I thought there'd be some cost. Okay. Is that it, the ones?
I guess a question with the assignment of the EDUs, now that we have all these people that want them, how do you allocate them? What's the basis?
Right. We don't have many of them, so I've dealt with it very little.
So Mike or Todd, what's your thought on that?
Well, basically, we'd have to look, if we have some, we give them on a first come, first served basis. If we get to the point where we're at capacity, then I think it would be either up to the applicant, if somebody wants more, or us to talk to Springfield Township to see if they have more that's available for allocation.
I've talked to them, probably, that might be 2 months ago, that they said they had 4.
They were referring to the borough.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, we did have 4 a couple months ago.
Yeah, on that note, first come, first served. Carlos,
Zach, didn't we give 2 to that guy that
yeah,
owns that apartment?
we were at 4, now we're at 2.
Right, okay.
So, a motion,
So, yeah, I mean, if council, is going to assign one, I guess you would do it by motion, on the condition that they receive full permits and approvals, from the zoning officer as well as the zoning hearing board. And if you want to apply a timeline to it, 3 months should be more than adequate for the zoning hearing.
Thoughts?
So if we give them 1, then we're down to 1, is that what you're saying?
That's correct. Barring everything goes through.
Right.
Is there a chance, or should we, at this point in time, check with Springfield Sewer Authority if they're willing to give us more EDUs? Just because it seems like we've had a rush on these, and if we're running out, we ought to find out what the possibility is of receiving more, perhaps before we give all of our EDUs away. Just a
We're
thought.
down to 2.
You want to
I
think
think
that
we still can give the ones away that we have,
Yeah.
and ask for more, right?
Right.
It's first come, first served.
I mean, they have their.
Right.
Like they did their paperwork.
So, I mean, what's the purpose of all the, if we would have to?
I make a motion that we move forward with tentatively giving Berlin's EDU under the conditions that everything passes zoning hearing, planning commission, zoning hearing board, and with a 3-month limitation. It's expiration on it.
I'll second.
Got a motion by Bill, second by Mark. Any questions from council? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
We'll open up anything that needs to be said about section B with Jordan's request for 2 additional EDUs on 9 Maple.
Yeah, he could not be here, he's out of town, he did ask, he'd like to talk to council. This is regarding the property at 9 Maple Street, which as you know, there's one residential dwelling in there. He would like to, he wanted 2 EDUs. Plus the one that would be there for a total of 3 EDUs, but he wanted to be able to put in 16 units. I did explain to him that our EDUs are not allocated based on water consumption. That's not how it's built. It's a flat fee, so he would need 16 EDUs. I assume council is in agreement with that.
Yeah, let's just clarify how an EDU is measured. The EDU is measured on, basically EDU is equivalent dwelling unit, and the number of gallons per day is not based on water consumption where it's used. It's based on the amount of sewage that Seven Valleys puts through the sewer plant divided by the number of units we have. That's how the EDU is determined. It's not the spigot in the house, it's where it goes at the sewer plant. That's why water studies, and I'm familiar with Jordan and other municipalities. Jordan likes to come up with a way to kind of not, I won't say not follow the rules, but bend them a little bit. And because EDUs have to take into consideration infiltration and inflow and everything else that goes into the system. And it would be, in my view, it's up to Springfield Township, to the sewer authority, to reallocate what an EDU is, if they want to do that, and it would need to be uniform for all their users. I mean, we had, when I represented the other sewer authorities, Spring Township every year would do a study that would show how much went through the plant from each municipality. And the amount of EDUs each municipality had fluctuated based on a 5-year average that they took on the sewage that went into the plant. Their Yo was over capacity for about 10 years. And then suddenly they did a lot of I&I work, they bought some capacity, they improved their plant, and then all of a sudden we had 10 units because of the fact that the actual flow went down to the plant. So that's how an EDU is determined.
On Jordan's kind of what he would like to do, I mean, I would love to kind of see something be able to happen to that building, because I don't think, you know, anything one person is ever going to be able to redo that building, or, but I mean, the possibility of what we have and what, you know, the exceptions, and as Mike said, you know, I understand, you know, the things that they like to try to do to get their things through, talking to Redline, some of the members, with especially the Franklin Street Social now. A lot of the promises that they made are not being kept. Not that it's not a great place, and it's a great probably use for the building, but I think the surrounding residents, again, promises are not being upheld that they made to them. Also talking to Mr. Garland, at this time, he's not in a rush to get out of that building. I mean, but again, he is looking to, you know, liquidate it. It is up for sale still, but he really has not put a concentrated effort to sell that building as of the last time I talked to him. You know, and he has not developed a property where they would like to move to yet, or have done anything. So I don't see it being anytime soon.
Right, and I think the main question is
Yeah.
We would need 9 EDUs.
Oh, I totally,
and
yeah.
We're not getting 9
No,
EDUs.
I totally agree, and that's what I think I mentioned to Jordan when I talked
Whether
to
it's
him.
Jordan or
Yeah, when I,
Harry or whoever.
no, exactly, I just, it's a.
Whoever it is, that,
I wish there was a way to redevelop that property somehow to make it more efficient for the borough, for the residents, for, housing, I guess, but the possibility of what we have available to us right now, I don't know if that makes it is possible.
comments from council?
I think since we're down to one EDU, if that goes through, we need to see what they have available. and try
Yes,
to get-
yes, I'm talking about section B
Yeah.
here, questions of
No
comments.
But I think there's a lot of single and like two occupant houses around here that probably don't use a lot of water or have the capacity that maybe we probably shortchanged years ago with what we had allocated for the extra EDUs. Maybe we should have had 30 or 300 like Springfield.
I think it was based on development.
Yeah, how much?
Nobody really used them. We already, we didn't use them for.
That's all I have.
No, not to go back to them. Yep. All right, now we will open up to regular public comment. Brandon?
Thank you. Hello, everyone. I'll make this quick. Randy, everyone makes as you all know, I'm running for council as well as a few friends of mine, and we're supposed to drop off our statement of financial interest to the governing authority. I believe that's you guys, correct? All right. I have all 4 of ours, and if it's okay, just a little receipt saying that you received them, if you could.
Yep, if I can do that after the meeting.
That's fine.
Sure, be
No
good.
rush. I'll be here all
Okay.
day. Thank you. That's
Yeah,
all.
sure.
No, real quick. I was at the sewer meetings. I talked to the plant manager and ongoing with the I&I issue. Remember they said they think they might have found it, but he's extremely busy with everybody else at days and the ground's frozen right now, but they are planning the minute it warms up to relook at that spot he found right under the train tracks. So that's the last I heard about the I&I issue.
Okay, and under like Cherish? where
Okay,
Cherish
so
Street dumps out?
where all of them come in from the other side of the train tracks, it comes past that yellow church, property.
Yep.
Right here at the, tavern's part, between that manhole there in the tavern's parking lot and the manhole on the other side. He had noticed, I forget, I have to go back to the records, what day it was the end of last year. And noticed one of those big torrential rains, he actually popped the caps and realized the one side the side on the tavern side had a greater flow going through it than what was coming through on the other side. He had done ran a rod through or something and said was knocking stones around, so he suspects highly there's an issue right there. He gave it significant enough that it's something they're going to warrant looking into. Now, I had reported that before, but I was just reporting now that it's still ongoing. They haven't had a chance to get. Apparently, they have to call Kleins or somebody to suck all this stuff out of the pipe, and then they can run the cameras through properly. But now that the ground's frozen, I guess that's on hold right this second. But I did double check with Ron over there at the plant, and that's the last I heard from him.
And you never heard of any connections between them two? Is there any connections from properties?
Property,
From the yellow church, and that's below where that manhole's out in the corner, do you know if the yellow church dumps into that line or dumps into
I
the front?
believe the yellow church dumps into that, network up there,
Right,
which all goes down here to the Main Street pump house behind the fire hall. And then that pumps over to Church Street.
right. I didn't know if between them two manholes, if there's no connections.
There's not supposed to be any connections
That's
under the train
straight
tracks.
up, right.
It's supposed to be one straight pipe going from one manhole to the next manhole.
Okay.
And like I said, he noticed during one of the torrential rains where it had, flagged the red light, the pumps couldn't keep up.
Yep.
That had a significant amount of water coming out of there. And he noticed the manhole before wasn't as much. So they know there's something there.
Yep.
Whether that covers the whole I&I issue or not, that's to be foreseen. I'm not saying that, but that's definitely a good place to start. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jessica Ballas, 22 Cherry Street. So understanding that Church Street is a PennDOT road, hoping that you as the representatives can contact PennDOT. on February 5th, a resident had posted online, and I sent you guys a screenshot of this, that her son had been struck by a vehicle after getting dropped off the school bus. I know Todd had done some research, contacting the police and the school. Not everybody will, that's their first step to do for anything. That's like, not everybody comes here. That being said, this Church Street is a very busy school bus zone, between the elementary, middle school, high school, the smaller vans that just get passed, and any other kind of school buses, nobody really seems to slow down or care.
Thank you.
So, May 6, 2024, October 2nd, 2023, and September 7th, 2023, I asked if we could get some school bus signs for Church Street. And I just want to reiterate that again, that if you guys could contact PennDOT to see if we can get some school bus signs on that road.
Is there any way to, and I think I said this, one of them dates you just said, I'm not sure which one.
Mhm.
Is there any way to move the group of people that stand right along the road over to the side where the parking spots are, just to give that extra 8 feet of separation out into the road? And just, that would make, I think that would make a huge difference. Plus, there's a property there with an open sidewalk. Is there any way to move that group of people over there?
So it's not just that group of people. This individual that was struck is actually over by Hofstadter. The bus itself takes multiple stops. So it's not just my primary group of children, because this happened elsewhere.
Yeah.
So again, moving to that other side, that does border a business parking lot. So we're not too keen on going into a business parking lot when people are pulling in and out.
The sidewalk.
Yeah, but we have a sidewalk where we are too.
Right, but then there's a row of parked cars on the other side. So there's another 8 feet out into the cartway.
Regardless, kids would still need to cross the street
Yes.
to get on the bus.
Yes, once the bus is stopped and has everybody stopped.
Yes, I'm just asking.
No, and I'm fine with you asking. I'm just saying for, like, I used to get on the bus on that street. I have kids that get on the bus on that street. They cross over when the bus stops.
Mhm.
Yeah. I'm just asking. I'm not saying that's
I'm
not a
sure
good idea about
my
that.
group of children.
Not just you, the whole street. Yeah, I'm not singling anybody out, Jessica. I'm not pointing fingers. I'm just throwing out an idea that's quicker than getting a sign put there about things.
If I could add something about the sign, so, LTAP, they put out, regulations, all the different various signs that are PennDOT signs. One of them that they put out here is a school bus stop ahead sign. It says that the following conditions warrant installing a school bus stop ahead sign. And it's lack of visibility from a distance of 500 feet away to the position where the school bus is stopped. Or 2, the school bus stop cannot be relocated. So, I mean, based on that criteria, it would qualify for a school bus stop sign because it's only, I measured roughly 295 feet from Main up to the bus stop.
Mhm.
And then from the bus stop, going up toward the post office at 500 ends right around 50 Church Street. And that's a clear straight shot, and that doesn't meet PennDOT's requirements.
Well, if it wouldn't be too much to just request them to come out, even though they've got the regulations or the 2 examples, because this is a major road, people are not necessarily looking. So again, we just want to keep our kids safe, even if it's crossing the road.
Yeah, 1 second.
Okay.
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to bring up again really quick was the light over the bridge. The parking here tends to have an overflow, which requires people to then park in the fire hall parking lot, and then to cross over the bridge. Just wanted to see if we could get any sort of light over the bridge.
Yeah, we do have something in the budget, and I just need to contact them to have them come down, do the engineering. The idea is that it'll be on the opposite side of the road, but it'll shine to this side where they're crossing. But it's pretty close to the bridge.
Okay.
So, but
That's
council
fine.
did budget funds for that.
Okay, great. I mean, obviously, as we approach summer, we won't have too much of an issue, but on a day like tonight, it's still kind of dark. Thank you.
I have a question.
I need to.
I was curious, and maybe you folks know, but I don't. This child that was struck, how was he struck? Was he struck coming off the bus, getting on the bus, after the bus had left?
I think based on how the mother responded that it may have been after the bus had already left, and based on what Todd had found while talking to the transportation for the school.
Was it while crossing?
Yes,
So the child did not cross when the bus stopped, but waited?
correct. But because there are so many children that get on and off these bus stops, they don't necessarily cross immediately. They might like linger back, mom saying goodbye to a friend or something. So,
I was just, because I mean, you talk about your street, I live on the busiest street in the county, I think. And there's no problem there, because the bus driver waits until all the children are across. So I'm not sure how this child would have waited. She wouldn't have left. The bus driver doesn't even leave if I'm not in front of my house and I'm on the side that the bus travels on. So it just seems a little unusual that the bus driver wouldn't have stayed until all the children had crossed.
not necessarily, because, for example, a lot of parents come out, we end up talking for a minute, the kids are running around, talking to each other. And at that point, the bus has already left.
So was an adult there when this
I
child
don't
was
know.
hit? It
But
just seems-
regardless of the situation and the circumstances, this mother was upset enough that she posted it online. I don't know if she filed a police report. I don't know if she contacted the school, but I would rather us take precautions and prevent a child being struck, because we have children as young as 14 months who are learning to walk at bus stops, and, you can't always control them. You can have a village there, but they are out of control. So I would just like for the cars to slow down.
Okay,
While
I
they
have
go on the
I have a
street.
question. The gentleman, the student or child you're talking about, he goes to VOTEC. I've seen him get off that bus and the bus isn't down in Holsteaders and gets on. He gets on gets off down there around where Zach and Billy and them live. He walks past my house, okay? Now, all I'm saying, you need to tell the mother that if VOTEC's bus goes right past her house, she needs to call VOTEC Transportation and say, my son lives at such and such an address. Your bus goes past my house. Can he be picked up at the house? And I know when my kids went to Spring Grove, and I'm sure Zach's same thing, when I lived where I live, I called transportation when my kids had to go to the intermediate. I said, do you have a bus go past my house? They said, yes. I said, can they be picked up? My kids got picked up there and dropped off. And that's why I said, if the mother is concerned, she could call transportation and ask them.
Yeah, and like I said, I don't know the particulars of this situation, but in order to prevent anything in the future, it would be nice if drivers were aware that they needed to slow down, because the bus does go through for several hours in the morning and afternoon based on the elementary, high school, middle school, the smaller vans, and as well as the tech schools. So it's not just my group of kids at 8:35, it's a whole bunch of them, and I think it's better to be cautious than to say, well, just cross the street when the bus gets here, because you cannot always control what children do.
Okay.
So, thank you.
Todd, did they call you?
No, when I actually saw the Facebook post myself, and Jessica had shared that with all the council. I thought it was an unusual post only because it sounded almost like it was a hit and run, but yet they described it as having tinted windows, and they could describe to the degree that 40-some-year-old lady with a piercing in her upper lip. So I'm wondering, yeah, that's what, but I'm wondering, did they maybe stop? And that's the thing, we can
Yeah.
speculate.
Right.
It sounds to me like maybe they stopped and he said, oh, I'm fine, and moved on.
Yeah.
Because if they're passing you and you have tinted windows, I don't know how you pick up that kind of detail.
Yeah, regardless of what was true or not, I still think if you could, will you make a motion to contact PennDOT, even if they say no?
I don't know if we necessarily need a motion for our secretary to reach out to PennDOT about sign.
Okay.
I
Will
think
the
that's-
council agree that it should be done?
That the secretary should reach out?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, is there any comments or questions about that?
Okay, what do you want?
I just want the council to reach out to PennDOT.
No, but what do you want to stop sign? I'm
It's
saying
it's
the
not
only reason
gonna,
I'm
it
asking
doesn't
that.
matter what we want, it's gonna be.
Because the only
what-
reason I ask is
doesn't
we
matter.
no longer have a school here, so I don't know.
I think we're all in agreement that we contact PennDOT and
Yeah.
say, come down and look at this stretch of road again. It's,
Yeah, and
it's worth a look, see to see
Again-
if there's signage needed.
I'm only asking that you contact PennDOT and looking for verbal confirmation, because like I mentioned at the beginning, I did mention this 3 times in the past, so I just want to make sure that even if PennDOT comes back and says, no, you don't qualify, that at least I know that council reached out on behalf of all the school children.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other public comment?
Yeah, well, in the meantime, Jessica, wouldn't you feel more comfortable moving into the other side? I mean, me as a parent, if I had kids running around, I sure wouldn't want to run around there and have an option to be on the other side. I mean, that's just common sense.
Well,
If you don't want your
there
kids to
is
get hurt.
also backyards, swing sets in the backyards.
But they're always on the
like-
front street though, with you as the parent, most of the time.
It's not just my
Well, no, I
children,
mean,
though.
I know it's a couple of them, but I mean, I would be more comfortable if I'm worried about my kid running out and getting hit by a car, and if they do, they're gonna get hurt. When there's another option on the other side of the street,
I
and
think-
the kids can
Can we
cross.
just agree that bus parents can choose where they're gonna put their kids, but kids will still potentially run into the street? So,
We can agree with that. Is
Yeah.
there any other public comment?
thank you,
Todd, you're gonna make a call and document that call, please.
thank you.
All right, moving on, engineers report.
Okay, we did receive the bid for the Church Street curb and sidewalk and stormwater project on the south side between Main Street and Park Street. There were 4 bidders. The highest bid came in at $348,850, and the lowest bid came in at $212,551. And just looking at, we have actually the number is higher than what I thought it was, because we have one development block grant that's, the first one was 175,000. The second one we got was 148,000. And then with the ARPA stormwater fund that we got to do with the stormwater inlets and everything was 48,250. So that puts us like around 371,000 that's available. They take 15% off figure for engineering. So that's going to put us around $349,000 that we have toward the project. So we have more than adequate funds to do the project.
And enough for a couple change orders.
Correct, yeah. So if council so inclined, we'll need a motion to award the contract to Restucia Construction Services LLC in the amount of $212,551.
Questions?
Where are they from? I've heard of them. Do you know where they're from?
I think they're in Newark.
I've heard
Pretty
of
sure
them.
so.
What?
They've been around for a while, yeah.
Yeah, I've
Yeah,
heard of
They've
them.
been around, and that's pending final review by the engineer, by me, making sure they have all their bonding, et cetera. That's part of the requirement of the proposal.
Questions?
Is that the same group that put in our sidewalks? I remember it started with an R and we had problems with them.
I thought, wasn't it Washington and Dowling that did the, they did the first round of 88 ramps, I know that, or?
Well, even before that,
Oh, okay,
does anybody remember?
The problem is unless we have documentation of issues, we cannot say that they're not the lowest responsible bidder.
Well,
And I'll give you an example. In Red Line, we had mega problems with a company in Elizabethtown. Everything was documented, all the problems over the years, basically saying you're never going to get another bid at Red Line because we had written documentation of the 3 problems that they had. And I know Restucia as well. They've been around for a while. If we don't have any documentation that we can pull out of our file and say, here's the problems we've had with you over the years, why we cannot reject the lowest bid saying that they're not responsible.
I understand that, but I remember writing in the minutes about this particular contractor, and I remember it started with an R, but I think they were from Maryland. I'll look, and if I find anything, I'll let Todd know.
Any questions from council, comments, motions? So we need a motion.
Motion that, Restuccia, thank you, construction services be awarded the bid. And all the criteria that Mike talked about, all their permits and everything that along with it.
Motion by Gary, second by Mark. All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Or see this.
And then you need a separate one for D. Yeah, we talked about televising the storm sewer lines that's underneath the sidewalk. As you can see, I called out to 3 different contractors that do televising work. One got back to me, Trinity Subsurface, and they wanted, frankly, an absurd amount of money to televise, just shy of $30,000. And that's to televise before and after. I did talk to New Freedom Borough with their sanitary sewer. They can run a camera down through, and we can get some flaggers, probably from the township, but it'll be a fraction of that cost, probably less than 5,000 for both days. So, I guess I'm looking for authorization from council for me to contact New Freedom Borough or some other municipality to do the work for us at time. And I say material, which would be their equipment rental fee.
I make a motion to give you authorization to explore different municipalities to get the best price to get that televising done before and after.
Motion by Bill, second by Deb. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Anything else for the engineer?
That's it.
All right, solicitor's report.
Okay, nothing new on the mediation. Sam, what do you have to say, please?
This report is for October 1st, 2024 through 12/31/2024. Super slow 3 months, no crime at all that was reported and that state police came out for. There were 2 crashes, one was non-reportable, one was on private property. 1 citation was issued for unlawful activities and 2 warnings were issued, one for driving on road lane for traffic and one for maximum speed limit.
Anything for the solicitor?
Zach, did you get anything from the mail from York County about the UCC paperwork, the changes that we'll make to the appeals board?
That's probably what you're.
That's probably what I just told him when I walked in. I just got something. I have it in the car.
Okay,
I
what it
didn't, I
is,
looked at it real quick.
I got 3 of them on Friday, one for each of my boroughs. What this is, and why they do this is beyond me. To send it to the municipality, they're sending it to the address of the president of council with a copy to the solicitor, which is why I got 3 of them. The county, as you know, we are part of the Uniform Construction Code, the countywide code, and they have an appeals board. Anybody who has a problem with our UCC inspector, they file an appeal to the county appeals board. They want to change the structure of the county appeals board. I've only glanced at it. Apparently, they're having people, they're not being able, even on a county level, to get people to meet the qualifications that they set for the appeals board. So they want to change that, which requires an intermunicipal agreement modification, because that's what we have with them. Again, I just got mine on Friday. This is the first municipality since I've had it. I'd just like permission from council to review the paperwork and prepare the necessary documents for action at the April meeting.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Gary for the solicitor to review the paperwork that he got. Second by Greg. All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Okay, thank you. That's all we have.
All right. Zoning and code enforcement.
Everyone has a copy of the written report. Pretty straightforward. Does anyone have any questions for me?
What's a mini split unit?
Air conditioned heater,
What?
an air conditioner or a heater. Fire company?
I have something I can cover under, at the end.
Okay. Regional parks.
Everybody received the Easter egg hunt schedule that Kate put out for the Y, updating on the YMCA renovation permitting. The timing of the permitting will be clarified tomorrow night at Jackson Township meeting. Before and after care was scheduled to start today at Spring Grove Elementary. That's been delayed till Wednesday because of inspection and insurance paperwork over the weekend. They come through. And then the last thing I have is the playground committee meeting is going to be taking place on Wednesday here at the Borough office at 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Questions? Comments on regional? Okay. Unfinished business.
If I remember correctly, I did email the letter to everyone. Just wanted to follow up, see if there was any questions on that. The sample letter they emailed to residents, so, okay.
Okay. Any other unfinished business? Okay. New business.
What comes the fun part? All right, Doug was invited to a meeting with the county commissioner, Burford, along with representatives from PennDOT and York County, YAMPO, the York Area Metropolitan Planning Organization. Was actually held after that meeting. And the commissioner just wanted to sit down and kind of brainstorm with PennDOT and someone from the borough. Doug wasn't able to attend, so I did go on behalf of the borough. And, they talked about a lot of things. We've heard people say, well, raise it for clearance. Well, you can't do that because particularly with the rail, you're going to go back a mile or two either way. You can't just kind of do the hump with the tracks. Lowering it, the infrastructure is just too shallow there to do anything. And then you'd have interference with Cherry Street as well. So the question was then, what can we do to try to at least minimize the hits and the impact? Because as Doug mentioned, I think last month or so, they did give a number of $450,000 to do the repair to that bridge.
Could you repeat that number?
450,000. And according to the commissioner, they talked to the railroad folks and they claim that with the bent track that it caused, that they claim that they've lost $100,000 in revenue. So just to give you an example, that since at least the county's been keeping track of the bridge hits that they know of. Of course, it was at times, I'm sure they don't know about it. But in the last, let's see here, 8 years, 2017 to 2024, they have recorded 75 hits. What's that?
It's gotta be a record.
No, actually, the peak was in 2020 and 21. We had 17 one year and 14 another.
Well, I meant within York County, how many bridges get hit?
What year was that 75 then?
No, that was combined.
Oh, that was
combined.
17 to 24.
From 2017 through 24.
I've always said it's about every 6 weeks. It just seems to happen in multiples of 3 when it happens.
Great job.
So,
For a while.
some of the things they've talked about with PennDOT, and there's a very similar situation they have over in Radnor Township. And I did provide the council, I believe, with a street view of their situation. It's the King of Prussia Road and the SEPTA Bridge crossing. What they did is they have the flashing lights, with the height restrictions, but then they also have the clearance and they have the bar over the road. Now, they said initially that's what they did, but later on they raised that and added these, they call them clangers. They have 5 of them because they found their sign was getting beat up too much. So they talked about that, how that would be done here, and everyone kind of agrees that you want to try to get that as close to this intersection as you can, because you don't want them to get past this intersection, because then you run into the issue of turning around. So this is just very preliminary discussions. They're going to be talking to PennDOT. When I say they, it's going to be the county. The county's driving this, not the borough. And actually, if they get it closer to the intersection, then North Cadorus is involved more than what we are. But at minimum, I think what they'd like to do is at least put the flashing beacon lights right here at this intersection to try to capture people's attention before they get through that intersection. And then maybe put the overhead with those clankers when you get closer to the bridge. But one thing they did talk about, PennDOT and had talked about, as well as the county, and I think it makes some sense, is, we had that stop sign there, and then we sent them the letter. You remember, I copied that in there as well. I believe it was in late 2023, where we had requested that the stop sign be moved back because we were finding bottleneck there, and then putting a stop bar as well. But then they came back and did the yield sign. But they believe that it may save a couple of hits. It's not intended that if we put the stop sign back, that it'll stop them. The idea is for the county is to protect their asset, which is the bridge, that it's a much lesser impact if it does get struck, because you'll be starting out from a standing still position versus a smooth roll of, whatever they're doing, 25. Yeah.
Question, who actually owns the bridge?
The county.
County, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So my understanding though, if you look at the hits, they're concerned about going southbound. There actually is more hits coming northbound. And I mean, the major hits seem to happen southbound, but, so, I mean, when I talked to Scott about this, I mean, in general, you would need 3 of them systems. Because there's 3 different directions you can get to that bridge, and he didn't think about that. And there's numerous places, I mean, they can't tell them they can turn around in the fire company. They can't tell them they can turn around in the Valley's parking lot, because both of them are getting ripped up as it is. I mean, Cherry Street, we all know that's a dead end. I mean, I just don't, I mean, I would love to see them be able to do something, but what's practical, I don't know. And I told Scott, I mean, the restaurant gets tractor trailer deliveries, so you're saying it's going to get hit every week, multiple times a week, and you're telling you're telling that driver it's okay to hit that. I don't know. I mean, I can't figure. I mean, we all know we've been dealing with it. I've been dealing with it from July 1st, 2013.
What are they looking from us? Because
Well,
last time we said about moving the stop sign, they put a yield sign. So
Right.
Well,
what are they asking
But
us?
PennDOT was at the table,
Yeah.
and the county and PennDOT believes, at least in the interim, till they figure out if they're gonna put up the flashing lights or these
Roundabout,
clankers or
Did they
whatever.
mention the roundabout at all
No.
here? Because I think that's going to save a lot of things when that happens.
But I think that's probably 8-10 years out yet. But
Is it? I thought. I mean,
maybe not. I haven't heard anything more recent. But
okay.
what they're looking for right now is if the borough is open to making a request to PennDOT to have the stop sign restored, so that it at least stops traffic, that someone may look and pay a little more attention to that height on the bridge, but more importantly, if they don't, most of the structural damage that they experience is when it is going southbound. And their goal would be, at least with the stop sign, that, you'd be pulling out from a stop position, and if you hit it, it shouldn't be with the force that causes it to move.
If they stop.
If
We
they
all
stop.
know
Well,
from
right,
past
right,
that, especially
That's
if the cars
another.
did not stop at that stop.
I guess my only other question would be, and I mentioned this to the commissioner, coming northbound, especially out on 214 before you make the right on the Yellow Church Road. that sign that says no trucks is nothing like the one out here.
That's right.
I mentioned to him that needs changed, or
They
it
talk-
needs to be put on both sides of the road to say go straight ahead. Now, we know there's also multiple ways you can
You're
turn
talking
the
about
yellow.
216 or 214?
I'm sorry, 216, not
Okay.
5, I'm sorry. But,
They did talk about that as well.
because I think
They
that would
have to do
help,
something up on Yellow Church
Yeah.
Road.
or right there before you make the right, because I think that's the box trucks coming, you know, the over height box trucks coming northbound from 83.
And again, we don't have to act on this tonight.
Yeah.
If you want to think about it a little more and so forth, but that's what they're looking for us, at least in the immediate moment, to try to help reduce the impact.
And just one quick thing on the clankers too, I mean, if there's trucks making deliveries, like he said, that would hit that. I mean, that's gotta cause damage to them fiberglass fairings and the tractors and stuff.
Well,
Coming in at
and
35 mile an hour or whatever at the intersection and hit them, you're gonna be causing.
And that's the thing, they have a lot of studying to do to,
Yeah.
number one, know where they need to place them, you know, ideally, if they have the flashing light up here at the intersection, that should
Yeah,
help
start
a
with the
lot.
flashing lights.
But those that still proceed, ideally to avoid the situation in the valley, you probably need them between the fire hall and Cherry Street, right along the side of the valley.
You would need them right, yeah, I mean, basically where, between the properties,
Yeah.
between,
Midway on the side of the building.
yeah, exactly, yeah.
But again, you know, this is just pure conversation right now with them. They're doing some more research. But they just thought that this is maybe something, that would maybe benefit the county. Like everyone agrees, it's not going to stop it, but they would hope that it would minimize the damage. So whether it's this meeting or next month, if you're open to it, they would just be looking, I would need authorization for you, from council, for me to send a letter to PennDOT to ask them in light of the recent bridge hits and so forth, that we reconsider replacing the yield with a stop and a stop bar.
That we're asking them to reconsider.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're gonna,
We're not
it sounds like they're, no.
Yeah, I just want to be clear to everybody. that
Yeah.
We're not,
No.
just because we put that letter doesn't mean there's 2 stop signs coming.
Right.
Could be
And
2
it
yield
would only
signs coming
be,
next.
it would be one stop sign where the yield sign and where the stop sign was before. And they talked about that as well. Should there be yield signs on Church Street side or stop signs?
Get rid of all of them, you have, let it work itself out.
I was forever.
Seems that way, seems the way every day anyway.
Yeah. But, you know, they talked about the issues of traffic backing up and blocking Church Street. Anyway.
Would there be any liability in us sending that letter?
Yeah, that's all we've done. Because they would be approving it.
Right,
Going
when
this
this, right.
One thing to remember is the stop sign mysteriously appeared on its own. We never did an ordinance, we never put it in, it just showed up there and then it,
So why do we have to do anything now?
disappeared and became.
The county's asking us to help save the bridge. That's, the county's asking us to send a letter to PennDOT.
Why don't the county just put a stop sign up if they want?
It's the state.
Well, last time, like, wasn't there, didn't we conclude there was no traffic study done?
No, there was nothing done.
So it was
It
not
disappeared.
enforceable
The
anyway.
stop sign appeared.
I just don't understand why we have to do anything.
I think they just
They want to
want,
put one up, put one up.
I think they just
They
want.
want to include you with it,
Yeah.
because it is your borough.
I mean, there's some issues with putting it back where it was to be moved to. If you stop a stop sign and there's nobody coming, you start proceeding and the guy pulls off of Church Street, they're gonna raise all kinds of hell. If
Yeah,
you're
they
going
still
to the
do.
underpass.
You gotta stop again.
They still do that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Because oncoming traffic does not stop.
yeah.
Because it doesn't just say yield.
Then you're still in the same spot.
Yeah, he gets the right away. You stopped.
It's a stop, yeah, it's not yield anymore, it's just a stop.
Sure,
Then you
stop
stop.
sign.
But if you're already proceeding through and under,
You would think they would stop, but they don't.
Not reality.
Because people know where the two cars
There's no
are.
courtesy anymore.
Right. stop sign would replace that, and the stop sign would be back. So it still would be one stop sign, not on the other side.
Right, I was thinking the stop sign on this side.
No, we were showing where the existing one was.
As much damage to get their attention.
Hold on. I'll make that motion, that we replace that yield sign with a stop sign. Put it back to the stop.
Send a
sign.
letter
Send a-
requesting
send a letter.
PennDOT to do
No,
all
I'm gonna
that.
do it right now.
I think we should all-
Let's see it. Questions on Gary's motion, council?
What was it again?
That we will send a letter to PennDOT saying that we will go along with them putting the stop sign.
Just
With
one
the stop
stop
bar.
sign, not on the other side? People will just wait when Church Street's clear, then they'll come out. Why are we so concerned about not putting the stop sign on the Church Street side?
Yeah.
Because when
Get a
you,
double stop.
yeah, but I can see people.
We're not gonna make it anything.
Yeah.
I've learned that in 12 years.
I can't do that every day, and there's bottlenecks now where people are coming down Main Street and they stack up and people can't pull out of church if they wanted to, and there's not even a stop sign. You probably see that.
Yeah, if everybody sees it, even a stoplight, I don't think would help traffic or right there, because like I said, people are blatantly disregarding the traffic signals, whether it be signs or otherwise.
Signal lights.
And sure, that's something that can always be visited later too.
But for now.
Motion by Gary to send a letter to the state. Yep. What the county's asking us to do.
How it is.
The street stop, to change the yield to a stop and then the back.
Yeah.
With the stop bar.
With a stop bar.
At least
Like
you're
you do that.
giving it.
I'll say.
Second by Mark. All in favor? Opposed?
Ask the word, there'll be another stop sign out there.
Who?
They might not do anything. All right.
Any other new business? Treasurer's report. Everybody had a chance to review it. Is there any questions? Comments from the treasurer on it? Anything different?
Well, the only thing I will note, it kind of leads into the next thing, so we can skip over that, is I do have an appointment with Orrstown Bank. You'll probably see that they charged us some service charges for checks. 2 checks, we were 2 checks over, they said. So I'm going to talk to them about that and what account options there are. And then I'm also going to be opening that account for the playground.
And ask them about the expenses also.
Yeah, the fee.
The fee, ask them about the fee also.
Yeah.
Yes.
Todd, when Casey was in here, did you deal with her?
Oh, yeah.
Well, you know, you can still deal with her.
Really?
At leader sites, yes, you go to leader sites and deal with her, so, I mean, that's where almost everybody is going, is fed up with the crap in here.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Just a note, see everyone else.
So do you use Forest County checks rather than Plymouth?
No, that's the thing, it's not many. So I don't know how many checks they have.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't get anything from them telling us what they were changing us to, so.
They'll refer you back to the packet that they sent in September of last year. There were 25 pages that you're
All right.
supposed to memorize.
If not, I will take a motion to approve and the secretary to file statement for audit and paying regular bills, and also talk to Orrstown about the fees and the new rules for the account. So moved. Motion by Bill, second by Deb, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Bill.
Oh.
Secretary's report.
The only thing I have to report is Wellspan reported that there were 20 EMS calls in the borough in January. Looking like a lot. And then the other thing is, I did email to everyone, York County Boroughs Association, their quarterly dinner meeting is going to be March 27th. Will be held here at the Valley Tavern, so hopefully some guys can have a good representation. So if you can get back to me and let me know whether you can attend, I have to have it back to them by March 21st.
And there's 3 meal choices on that if you decide to go, so check that paper.
Okay.
Cause they would need to know that when they register.
Anything else for Secretary? Mayor's report.
Other than going back to the fire company, I did have a conversation. They are in the process of trying to finance a new pumper truck, from Couch Brothers. It's a 2,000 gallon tanker truck with a 1,500 gallon per minute pump on it. They're looking at a total cost of about $470,000. Again, this is kind of a bare bones, kind of a, it's not a custom truck, it's kind of just a stock truck. The biggest thing they want to do, they do want to match paint colors, so they are doing a couple custom things. I mentioned they are, of course, they're looking for at all financial help that they can get. I did mention, I don't know what the borough, if the borough would be interested in doing anything. I don't know what we have, whether, I mean, there's a donation, I don't know if there's a way we can help them maybe finance at a, because it does help the borough in entirety. I don't know if that's even allowable by law, if we finance a part of it for them, in a sense where, again, finance a loan that's zero interest maybe, to help them. I did, again, I told them I would put, bring that up and put it in your guys' mind. And I did ask them to come to a meeting and present the different finance options they're looking at and what might be involved. Now, the order has not been placed, but, they're trying to get these things lined up first before they place this order. I mean, most likely it is going to happen. They're looking at about 13-month turnaround once they place the order, which is significantly faster than a custom truck at anywhere from 2 to 4 years if it was a total custom. So again, I'm just letting you know what they're looking at, what they may, again, if there's any help or we, as a borough, to support them in any way to help them, with any needs that we may be able to do. But like I said, I did ask them to attend a meeting and present this to the borough and, go over some financing options that they're looking at and what different things might. But other than that, I think everybody knows they've been without a tanker truck for a while now, whether it's been broken, I believe it's been sold now. They don't even have one over there, but again, they've been looking for a while for one, and this is the best option, brand new warranty, it's not costing them much more than all the good quality used ones that they've looked at, so they feel like this is the best option for them. So again, I'm just putting that out there for everybody and something to think about. But like I said, I'm going to reiterate to them that I would like them to come and present, some kind of presentation to everybody here and go from there.
Remind them we have a bridge restriction.
It is lower than that. They definitely did.
Okay.
They did look at that first. Yep.
I was gonna say, gee, I just heard someplace that there was some fire recently very nearby, and there were 5 tanker trucks that had to come to go there.
Regent's Glen, there was a fire on Saturday.
And so I'm thinking if they can get 5 tanker trucks that quickly to a spot, the 7 valleys really need to have a tanker truck. That's just my thought.
It's a pumper, not a tanker.
No, it's a tanker.
It's 2,000. It's a 2,000 gallon tanker with a 1,500 gallon pump per gallon per minute.
So someplace in the county there are at least 5 others close by.
New Salem's getting a new tanker as well, from what we've heard.
Yeah, so again, I think, I don't know, I feel like they think being a rural community, they feel like they need one, so. That's all I have.
All right. Liens still 2. Didn't change. And anything on the sewer meeting?
The only thing I have, just like I mentioned earlier, zoning hearing board did approve that special exception for 71 Main Street. So we requested go to Springfield Township Sewer Authority, and they did approve the borough's recommendation that those 2 EDUs be assigned to that property. So I just want to clarify that that's done.
That's where it was supposed to go.
Oh,
Mike? Nope. Sam?
nope.
Cheryl?
Nope.
Doug?
No, sir.
Aaron?
Mark?
Brad? Deb?
No.
Bill? All right. Any public comment?
Hi, this is Alice, 22 Cherry Street. In regards to what Doug just said about the fire hall and the tanker, as far as I see it, this is a fire hall thing. This should not get any financing from the borough, considering that we also have this playground request that we're doing, and at first borough only, right now, you've only contributed $2,500, and it's approximately $175 we're estimating, maybe more or less, for a playground. So I feel like if you're going to give to one entity a certain amount of money, you should probably match, and a tanker is probably significantly more in terms of contribution. So I agree with Cheryl that do they even need one, and if they do, it shouldn't come out of borough financing.
Thank you. Any other public comment?
Just a quick question. Can I just ask what the legal matter is about?
Sean Snyder's litigation.
Thank you.
Anything else? All right, we're going to move into executive session, and we will reconvene for adjournment when we are done.
Everybody else.
I believe that.